Okay, shalom ladies and gentlemen. We're going to do a short class on the 10 commandments. This entire book is about it. It's a very important subject because this parasha is Parashat Yitro, and unfortunately I saw a survey, which I did myself personally to, I don't want to say 1,000 people, but a few hundred people. I saw a survey that said 90% of Jews are not familiar with the 10 commandments. They don't know them. So I tried it on a lot of my family and students and congregation at Ma'ora Torah, and I saw heartbreaking that a lot of people thinking kosher is one of them, or Yom Kippur, which of course the Torah has 613 commandments. But what's so special about the 10 commandments? First of all, God gave that to us face to face. We're the only religion in the world where God gave us, that's why we're the foundation of all the monotheistic religions, because we experience God talking to Moses. Mm-hmm. You understand?
Right.
All the other religions, God didn't introduce any of the people. So therefore, another reason that these 10 commandments are so important is because, very simply, these 10 commandments incorporate the other 613. You understand? They're such general and vital rules that, like, there's a whole book written about this. How you can trace all the 613 mitzvot somehow, some way, to these 10. So if we know these 10, we're in good hands. But of course, so how do we remember? What's the technique? To learn the 10 commandments, know them, and not forget them. What's the first one? I am God that took you out of Egypt, right? Anochi.
Yeah, right.
So we have to believe that there's a creator. There's no big bang, no big shbang. We're not an accident. We're not advanced monkeys, right? I was at the San Diego Zoo this week. That's a falsity. There's a God that created this world. And not only did he create the world, he still cares about the world. That's why it says, I'm the God that took you out of Egypt. What's the second one?
Second one is...
The second commandment is...
Thou shalt not say God's name in vain.
No, that's the third one. The second one is the opposite of the first one, right? We were saying that don't have any other gods. Lo yeh lecha elohim. We have to believe that God doesn't have any family. He doesn't have any partners. He's echad yachidu meyuchad. He is the sole and uniquely divine creator. You can't clone God. It's impossible. He's a pure and simple, what? One. The most clearest and simplest and fundamental one that you can. You can't even technically clone him. He's one. He has no partners. None of the angels are his partners. Even the Satan is one of his ministers, one of his angels. He calls all the shots. There's no energy or anything in the world, what? That is beside him. So that is a very, very important thing to realize. What's the third one?
The third one is...
don't say God's name in vain, which means don't swear falsely, which means we have to respect God. If you don't have any respect for him, like you know how some people swear to their mother's grave or father's grave because it shows you respect your father, so you wouldn't lie.
Right.
So especially to God, it's the most terrible thing.
Even if it's the truth, you should.
Yeah, we should say, no, you're allowed to swear technically if it's a true, but you know, sometimes we're not sure. So it's very, very dangerous to swear altogether. You should bend over backwards to stay away from swearing, but swearing falsely is especially terrible because the punishment says in the Torah, Lo yenakeh, God will not forgive you. And again, I want to say something. A way to remember the 10 commandments, it's on 2 tablets, right? Not iPads or Galaxies. It's on 2 tablets. The first tablet, let's call it the iPad tablet, is the commandments between us and God. The second tablet, which is the Galaxy, which we're videoing the class on.
Yeah.
The second tablet is between us and our fellow man.
Got it, yeah.
Which I think ISIS forgot the sixth commandment, not to murder. They're murdering people in cold blood.
Everybody, yeah.
Yeah. So now let's go to the So we said the first is I am your God. We have to believe in a God. No other gods, right?
Right.
Third one, don't swear falsely. Don't say God's name in vain for no reason. Respect His presence.
Right.
Fourth is Shabbat. So therefore, to those Jews that say, I keep the 10 Commandments, if you drive or work or cook or do any of the 39 things on Shabbat, you're not keeping even the most basic of the universal rules of... It's because the Zohar says whoever keeps Shabbat is like you kept the entire Torah. If God forbid we desecrate the Shabbat, we smoke, we work, we cook, we take a vacation, it's like God forbid we're not keeping the entire Torah. So Kabbalistically, Shabbat is the key to all blessing. Anybody that's sick, anybody that needs anything from God, the Chafetz Chaim would always say, keep Shabbat. And if you keep it more strictly. Like, you should, prepare for it a few hours earlier. Because Shabbat is the key to all blessing. And it's the only one of the 10 Commandments that God asks from us to do for Him something.
I heard you're not even supposed to be, if I'm correct, not even angry or sad.
No, yeah, of course. And sinning is worse even. I saw the Pirush of the Al-Sheikh. He says, don't light fire. Of course, it means literally we shouldn't start a car, which is fire, or cook, or start a campfire. But Kabbalistically, the great Al-Sheikh says, don't. He says on Shabbat we get 2 neshamas. So when you sin, it's kind of like you're raping, you're causing harm to... You have double amount of potential of spirituality because you have 2 souls on Shabbat. So if God forbid you get angry or you sin, not only are you abusing your regular soul, you're abusing your second soul of Shabbat. So Shabbat, you could give 50 lectures just about the laws and the philosophy, but there's one mitzvah that defines whether a Jew is religious or not religious. Is he committed to Torah or not? And that one mitzvah is what? Shabbat. So no, if you keep Shabbat, it's like you kept the entire Torah. And if God forbid you didn't, it's the opposite. The 5th is honoring your mother and father, which is so important in this culture where people don't respect their elders, they don't respect their rabbis, they want to make fun of everything. But if you respect your parents, God is going to bless you with the ultimate blessing, which is a happy and long life. So these are the first 5. Which is on the first tablet, right? We're calling it the iPad tablet. Yeah. So then the last 5 of the 10 Commandments are between us and our fellow man. And I want to give you some homework. If the first 5 are between us and God, why is honoring your mother and father part of it? Isn't that between... It should be in the second one.
Right. So it's a negative. It's like negative commandments in a way.
Yeah, you have to honor them. Well, it's not negative. You have to honor them and revere them and respect them. But that's your homework, to go figure out. 6th commandment is don't murder. And later I'm going to tell you how to remember them. Because the 10 commandments, it comes on 2 tablets. You could read it going down vertically or horizontally. If you read it in one line, the 1st and the 6th are on the same, are like one sentence. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you read it like this rather than down. If you read it straight. Now we're going to explain what the correlation there is.
Is there a correlation with 6 and 2 and 7?
Yeah, we're going to explain about that. A fascinating correlation. So the 6th one is don't murder, which is obvious, right? It's the most despicable thing you can do because each human being is so precious in life. That human being has a mother, father, sister, brother, friends. And we're going to go into why it's so terrible to murder somebody.
It's also through Lashon Hara.
Right, but I just want to clarify that, this entire book, which is almost, how many pages? 350 pages, 370 pages. There's so many details to each one of these commandments, and I want to put out something for you. And that is, Rabbeinu Yonah in Sha'arei Teshuvah says, do not murder would also mean don't embarrass people. Sometimes people are nasty, and if you embarrass somebody in public, he becomes red. You spilled his blood.
Right.
So you murdered him. So maybe we'll have a whole other lecture of the subcategories, right? Because do not murder could encompass
Many things.
Many things. Because if you embarrass somebody, you make fun of him in front of everyone, and then everybody starts laughing and he turns red, you've killed his, like not saying Lashon Hara, because you're assassinating his character. Then people won't. So in a way, not speaking behind somebody's back and bringing down his prestige, because what keeps us alive? Because everybody respects each other. But if you feel like a piece of dirt, you're going to commit suicide. So when people destroy your reputation by saying Lashon Hara, remember, this is why I was saying the 10 Commandments are so special, because they incorporated. I'm sorry, I have a little bit of asthma. But so number 6, don't murder, which would include all those other things. Right. 7, don't commit adultery. You know, a married woman, a family is the foundation. We don't want bastards or mamzerim. So it's an elementary thing that we have to, a man and woman, when they get married, they have to be fidelity, have fidelity, and, you know, not go and cheat, right? And the worst possible cheating is with a married woman, because she's holier than even a Torah. The Torah behind me, a Jewish woman is so precious and holy. She's the one that is the foundation, the blessing. All the blessing in a Jewish home is from whom?
It's from the wife.
It's from the wife. That's why the Zohar says it's very important to study a lot of Torah and elevate your soul. Because the holier you are, the more you love God. And the more God loves you, He's going to give you the best present ever. And you know what that is? A good wife. Because if you have a happy wife, you have a happy life, and you'll have good children, and it's your one-way ticket to heaven. So, number 8, don't steal, which is everybody, but here it's specifically talking about not kidnapping people, but of course it means don't steal and don't cheat people, but definitely the worst type of stealing is kidnapping somebody and holding him prisoner, which is unfortunately ISIS is doing that also. Yeah. He's taking people hostage.
They're doing all the opposition of.
Yeah, I don't know. They should be keeping the 10 Commandments because it's very sacred.
Aren't they supposed to at least keep 7 of the commandments?
No. The Muslims listen. A righteous Muslim will go to heaven because they accept the 10 Commandments as very, very important. They have a lot of respect for Musa. So I don't know. It's a travesty what they're doing. But to go back, what's the next one, Shlomo? Yosef? The next one of the 10 Commandments, so we did number 8, don't steal. Number 9 is don't bear false witness. Because,
don't lie. Like
my dad is a landlord, he's a manager. If somebody comes in front of the judge and says, I paid my rent, and he's lying, or the world can't function. The world, if we want to have a civilized society, if you go, your friend stole something, and then you come bear witness that no, he didn't steal it. Or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It destroys the fiber of society because it's so important that there should be justice and we shouldn't lie and steal and cheat. So the worst type of lying is what? In front of a judge in a Jewish court, which is to bear false witness. Because you're becoming partners in crime with the person that... It's a very good mitzvah to be a good witness, to support somebody that's fighting the good fight. And number 10, which is the most difficult to keep, is what?
Respecting thy neighbors as thyself.
No. You're right. The Ramban says that...
Not to be jealous, pretty much.
Yeah, don't covet. So don't be jealous is... What it means exactly, to be very precise, is you see your friend has a very, very beautiful family. So what are you going to do? You're going to go kill your friend or ship him off to Timbuktu so you could steal his wife. So if you see your friend is very wealthy and very healthy and very successful or a big Talmid Chacham, and you also want that from God, so you're not going to be a lazy bum, right? You see your friend is very successful, you're going to also be motivated to do?
To be just like him.
To be like him. That's why God created it, actually.
Right.
Because when the Orchot Tzadikim says that it causes the world to become more sophisticated and the world progressive, right? right? If everybody's just, communism, no, let's all be losers. No.
Yeah.
But the sin is to tell God, why did you give it to him? And the ultimate slippery slope of the sin is to actually want to take it away from your friend. Like your friend has a beautiful house or beautiful car or a beautiful possession. You by force want to go. So obviously that's the most difficult to keep. So I explained before that the 10 Commandments, they can be read. So the Midrash tells us a beautiful thing. I heard this from one of my great rabbis, mentors, Harav Eliezer ben David, which I consider probably the most greatest and wisest of all Persian rabbis in the world, Iranian rabbis. He says that, he brings a beautiful pirush. He says, we have to know 1 and 6,
Right.
2 and 7, 3 and 8, 4 and 9. It's not just a coincidence that they're on the
There's a reason.
they're on the same line, because if you read them as one sentence, it goes like 1 to 6. What's the connection? So I'll tell you, this is one of my all-time favorite ideas. It says, why is it so terrible to commit murder? By the way, my Rosh Hashiva, Rav Weinberg, would always say, it's okay to kill people, because somebody wants to kill you, or like an ISIS terrorist goes and is about to blow up everybody by the Kotel, God forbid, you're allowed to shoot him in the head and kill him.
Mm-hmm.
Murder is in cold blood for no reason, right?
Right.
You can defend yourself, or you can look at Sanhedrin. It's a whole sugi over there. Why is it so terrible to kill somebody? Because there's a spark of God in every person. What's so special about God? He's unique, right? We said we can't clone him. He doesn't have any partners.
He's S-corporated pretty much.
Exactly. So the same thing with human beings. Mrs. Sarah or Mr. Jacob or Mr. Simon or Mr. Isaac. He has such a beautiful and unique soul that if you murder him,
You're murdering God.
yeah, in a way, Kabbalistically, you're taking a spark of God out of the world. So that's why it's just such a terrible crime. And just like God is the ultimate unique being, since we're in the image of God, this person is, his talents and his personality is so what? Unique. So even if you're mad or jealous or whatever, zealous or crazy, it's the most terrible thing, because you're taking the reason why if you understand the first commandment, that there's a God, and you read Bereshit that God created every human being in his image, that's why you can't kill people. You're taking away a spark of God. The soul is a chelek eloka mimal, which is super duper unique, just like God. There is no other of you or me.
Right. Makes sense.
Now the second one is what? The second one of the 10 Commandments is we cannot worship other gods.
Worship other gods from me.
That's number 7. Don't commit adultery. Same idea, fidelity. Can we just abandon God because there was the Holocaust and go find another God? We have to be what? Loyal. Same way, a husband and wife have to be loyal to each other. They can't cheat. So that's a beautiful.
Yeah.
Number 3 is what?
Number 3 is thou shalt not say God's name in vain.
Don't swear falsely.
Don't swear falsely.
What's number 8?
Number 8
Don't
is
steal.
Don't steal.
Why do people swear falsely in court? Especially because they stole, right? Somebody, Mr. Joe Schmo goes steals. He goes to Vegas, blows all the money. Now the police get him and say, "Where's the money?" So there's no witnesses.
Right.
So what does he do? He comes and he doesn't want to go to jail, or according to Torah, if you steal and you don't pay back, you're going to be sold as a slave. You know that? So he doesn't want to go become a slave. So what does he do instead?